Welcome to my latest video of the Red Sea Reefer 170 floating aquascape. I've got to say, I am pretty happy with this tank, considering how little attention it actually gets. Some of you know I organised an event that was back in mid-May, and it was left to its own devices for about 3 months. So it's been ticking over quite nicely, and so I thought I'd just do a run through of how the tank is. So as you can see, floating aquascape. Now 3.5 years old, so pretty good with that. Let's start with what are the issues. So I've got a little bit of algae there and a little bit of algae around here in the bottom because there's a lack of flow. I'll come on to know why those corals are there in a minute. The nutrients are quite high, so phosphate is about 0.25. and the nitrates are about 25 to 30, so they're in balance, which is always good, but quite high. So what that does mean is you just get a little bit of bubble algae out the back if the clown gets out of the way. Well, that's my clownfish, my first ever fish that I bought. So she is coming up to 10 years old in next month actually, so chuffed to still have her. And you can see, oh, actually a lot of the bubble algae is actually gone, but you can see a bit of bubble algae there. But other than that, not too much in terms of nuisance. Got flow, got a Tunzi there, and I've got an MP10 right at the very back, provides some really nice flow. There's a gold torch there, and I think I said this before, it's a bit problematic because I have to watch what corals I actually put into this tank. So the good news is zoas don't seem to be stung by it. I've got a Christmas tree favia there, and then right at the back I've got a pink hystrix, and that's done actually phenomenally well because it doesn't get too much flow, but the sticks on it are actually pretty good. So you'll be able to see there how thick those branches are. Nice little white tips, and if I come around here you can see it's really close, but doesn't have too much an effect on it. So as much as I love this coral, it is a bit of a pain, and part of me says take it out, and then I've got some real estate around there, but then I just love it so much. I have not had a torch grow out like that for many a year. Okay, so coming over here, got a plating green Monty, absolutely fantastic. And if I come around here, it's becoming a bit of a problem, or it will do. So it's really close to the glass. You can't really see how close it is. Oh, there you can. Right, that's how close it is. So very close. So I'll need to sort that out in due course. And then coming around here is kind of two of the stars of the show, really. So a gold goniopora there. That's only been in the tank for about 6 weeks. Was a bit concerned because it's quite a small frag, but it's actually popping heads quite nicely. And I think that's because it's in dirty water, and you can see it's getting a decent amount of flow, which is absolutely fantastic. And then I've got a button scolly there. Had that scolly for 2-3 years and absolutely love it. I had a scolly at the front here, but I had to move it because it was too much light and it started to recess around the edges, which is never a good sign. And then another bit of a problem here, got a candy cane there, which is absolutely fantastic, and then a green acro around this area, and this is overgrowing onto this, and you've got some white spots. Sorry, it's a not white spot, hopefully not. Some die off there, so I'm going to have to frag that, and that's the problem. When you've got such a small tank and then you've got so little real estate, which I have on here, you're going to get problems with things that grow too quick. And it's now getting to the stage where it is growing too quick. Now in the middle there is I think it's a blasto, if I remember rightly, and I've deliberately put that right in the middle just because of colour contrast, because you get a really nice pop with the red in the middle and the green of the Monty there. And I'm so glad I put that Monty there because it's growing so well. You can see all the white tips there. And then you've got some zoas. So Sunny D, which is one of my favourites. A lovely bit of colour, very hardy. There's a hawkfish there. That's been in there pretty much since the tank begun. Lovely fish, just sits there, chilling out. Absolutely love that. And then you've got in there some Dayglow Volcano. I think the Volcano Dayglows. They seem to melt for a lot of people quite often, but not for me, fortunately. And then down here, I've got peppermint shrimp. Always does very well across the tank. Then I have got, down here they're having a bit of a fight. How dare the male try and attack the female. She'll put him in his place, as they always do. And then I've got a pipefish. I got distracted as usual. There you go, pipefish over there. Had that pipefish for probably about 3 years now, feeding well on mysis. I bought it feeding on mysis from AAC, my LFS, and if you can get a pipefish, I'd certainly recommend it already being trained onto things like mysis, because copepods in here, it would certainly run out of food very, very quickly. Quite easy to look after. It seems to sleep over this side because the flow isn't so bad. It doesn't miss out on feeding time, because the clowns can be really aggressive at the best of times and they are at feeding time. But is really good for feeding and holding its own, which is really, really good. So that's an overview there of the tank, and I've got to say, I'm absolutely chuffed to bits with how that is looking. Just got to frag it back now, and I'm just going to try and put some more frags over here, but I need ones with lower light. So I've got Cyphastria there, and that's done quite well. Don't think it's been stung because it's out of the way of the torches, but I need to put something in there. I tried to record here, but that didn't really work very well. Just not enough light. I don't really want to get a suncoal or something like that, because I've got to increase the feeding. And what I don't want to do is push nitrates even higher than they actually are. So okay, let's take a look in the sump. So if we move down to the sump area, we've got a NIOS 120 skimmer, probably a little bit overkill, because it's really designed for a tank of about 450 litres. It's running quite dry. I haven't changed or emptied the cup for probably a month, 6 weeks, but that's okay. And then the Red Sea Reef Mat 250, and I've got to say, a really good piece of kit. I've had it now for maybe 6 months or so. Hasn't missed a beat. Still on the first roll, because I haven't got a massive amount of livestock in the tank. And it really stops me having to do water changes. So really pleased with how that is. I've got the CO2 scrubber running on here, and that's down here. And the pH has gone up from around about 7.9 to 8 to 8.2 to 8.3, so that really helps, although the last thing I really need is lots of coral growth. And then in terms of dosing, I'm dosing Alpha Reef. Big fan of Alpha Reef. Dosed it for probably 3 years, maybe a little bit longer, or certainly since I've started dosing this tank. And I think it's one of the reasons why the coral looks so good. Not only do you get the alkalinity, which is running at about 8.4, calcium, which is running at about 400, and magnesium at about 1450. You also get the trace elements. So the minor elements, which I think help with the coloration and certainly help things like Goniopora. That works quite well on that. And then last but not least, this Alveopora that's there, that was up there. So that's going to go into one of the other tanks. And then in terms of lighting, this is an XR15 Radian 3rd generation. So it does very well. So that light is coming up to 9 years old. And as you can see, whilst I haven't got any heavy duty acros in there, it grows the corals really, really well. So who would have thought? LED, nearly 9 years later, doing really, really well and growing out the corals. And that is it. So if you enjoyed the video, then why not like or subscribe to the channel. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.